Oh, goodness gracious.
Uh,
You know what I should probably do is pull up a stair drawing so I could look at that with you guys before we actually plot ours.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Okay. I was going to say it might be worth our time to look at something like that. Oh, right. Mm-mm-mm. But I think I might save this staircase as a new sort of standard one for us to use as training because it actually is a pretty decent staircase. Mm-hmm.
Decent it is.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The one I used to use before this was a little more complicated because we actually had handrails and everything on it too.
Why you gotta make things so complicated?
Wow. All right.
Eh, that's a awful, awful superpower to think about songs that pertain to the conversation.
Well, here we go. Here we go. So this is a Kelly. Right before you jumped in, I was just telling Cody here. I was like, we might want to look at a stair drawing that we've done in the past, just to see how we tend to usually plot those things. Um, not that I couldn't just show you guys how to do that here, um, but like there are some things like this particular staircase doesn't really do a very good job of showing what I was trying to get to. So I'm gonna look for a different one. But um, let's see, stairs. What jobs had those? I don't think Cafe Momentum had a Bradley Law. No, that's somewhere on. Never mind though. All right. Definitely not ATL 6. Piedmont, oh, nothing there. Hmm. One sec. I wonder if I go through SharePoint. Oh, if I could pull up a pre-existing staircase that we've done before, that might be easier to see what's going on. I probably did it on print temps. That was like pretty recent. Oh, when did these pictures get here? These are newer than the ones I have, I think. That was a fun one. Actually, you know what? I think I just did it on the Mecklenburg. I probably have that folder synced. Let me check. I do. That's right. That was that staircase I was really stressed out about for like a good month or two. Not that one. It was this monumental stair guy. It's monumental. It's so crazy it won't even load. Just kidding. um, that was a wild one. But what I wanted to show you guys though is when it comes to stairs, whether they're straight runs or curved or whatever, a couple things that I like to do. One thing is each step on the staircase, I like to put a label on it. I usually will just go and start with the number 1 and work my way up the stairs. I usually do that like this, and this time I actually graded it out, which I think actually looks a little better anyway. Or no, I graded it out because these were treads by others anyway, but I still labeled them as if, that's how we would normally do it. Um, Another thing too that we do a lot is that we usually put like a directional arrow that goes up the stairs and it'll say up next to it at the top. Um, that way you can actually show like what direction the staircase is going. Because it's kind of hard to tell what's going on when you're looking at a top-down view. You can't really say which way the stairs are going unless you have like either an axial view or um, or like that directional arrow helps with that too. So um, anyways, so numbering the treads, putting the directional arrow are pretty important things. Some things that may be useful too is like sometimes on stairs, if it's like a straight run, I'll put like a typical, like these treads actually varied in width because of the curvy parts. But if all my stairs are the same width here, I might just write 11 TYP for like 11 typical for the stair tread. Just things like that. So really, this may not be the best example, but it's close to what I was trying to go for here. So we'll go back to our drawing. There we go. All right, we are in 2D wireframe. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. I'll go back to our plot space and we're going to start setting up some of these viewports here. So first things first, let's go to our Axio views and see if we can get them both on this page. Let's say a 1/4 inch is a little small. That might be a little big, but we'll see. We're dealing with 2 flights, so it's definitely a tall boy here. Okay, maybe we need to go 1/2 inch equals a foot. That's a lot better. And I bet we could put both Axio views on this page too. All right, so just like before, what I usually do is I'll use the move command, line up the corner of my view with the corner of my view title, and I'll just raise it up like 1.5 inches to give me that little bit of margin space. You know, here, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to put any dimensions or anything on it or labels here. So this is mostly a view for reference only anyway. Let's see, go from there to there. Try to get it pretty centered. See what we can do. All right. And then, oh, let's change this too before we move on. This is going to read axonometric view at staircase. Yeah. If they have provided one, which in this case they really didn't, the only thing that we really have is the plan view from the floor plan. So we're just going to write NA there for the arc ref. And axonometric views always do say NTS on there for scale because we just don't want people to pull out a actual scale and try to measure these because they're really just there for reference material to see what the staircase looks like. So, okay, let's make a copy of this, paste it over here and grab our second Axio view, this one here. Putting 2 on here just because I want to be able to show a couple different angles of the stairs because as complicated as they are, if you have more views, the better it is to understand what it is you're looking at. The less views, like what we had to start with, you know, luckily the metal shop people came through and gave us more information. But if we had only had the architecturals, then I don't know how far we'd really get here. So before we move on to the next page, let's go ahead and lock our viewports. Make sure that that padlock is on. Okay. And let's change this to read view number 2. And okay, one more thing. You got to fill out our title block. Oh man, I broke it. And the page label tab at the bottom. This will be S1.0. And the information over here is, we might have already filled that out actually. I guess we did. Okay. Go us. All right. We'll have to fill out the finishes and hardwares later and the general notes later, but for right now, we can keep on moving with what we're doing. So I'm going to go to move or copy to make my new tab, hit create a copy and move to end. And relabel this to read S1.0 or 1.1. If I tried to do 1.0 again, it would start yelling at me, start barking at me. You're like, you already have a tab named that. All right. Now let's go to our plan views. See what we got here. So we got one at the planter. I want to see kind of like roughly how big we can make these before they don't fit on the page too. Generally, the bigger a view can be, the more detail you're going to be able to provide and all that. So if I go with this at 1 inch equals a foot, it looks like that view fits. That view just barely fits. That's dangerously close to the edge. Not to say that we can't do that. It's just it's going to be very close to the edge of the page. So we'll have to just be very careful when we go to plot that in there. So I'm going to use 1 inch equals a foot here to plot the plan views, plural. We have at least a couple of them here. Okay, there we go. Get this lined up here. Get this lined up somewhere about there. Oh, and I'll change this to read plan view. All right, moving on. All right. Now, I won't be able to fit all three of them on this page, but that's okay. Okay, this is going to be the floor between level 19 and level 20. Oh, I see. Like I can't get it to snap to the baseline there. This one I'm going to have to shift a little bit too. I can't have it perfectly at the edge like I normally would like to do, because it's going to clip it off like that. So I'm going to try to get it as close to their center here as I can, just so it doesn't get chopped off. Okay. And then again, just like before, make sure we lock these viewports before we move on. And since I have a little bit of space, I may actually just go ahead and move this up another grid square. Give myself a little bit more room here. And same with this too. But again, make sure these are locked. Make sure our labels are put on here correctly. And one thing I might actually do too, instead of just saying plan view at staircase, I might actually change this to read plan view at level 19 planter. And then this one can read plan view at level 19/20 staircase. Whoops. This will be in between levels 19 and 20. Okay. Just to make it easier to see what's happening is all. All right, move on. We'll make another page. This one will be S1.2. Uh-oh, what the heck? What the heck? All right. Unlock. Now let's go find levels 20 through 21. Okay. Okay, and I won't be able to actually put a elevation view on here, but I might be able to put some little detail views on this page. So I'll leave that top part blank intentionally for that reason, like up here. Still want to make sure this is locked though, and change this label to say levels 20 through 21 staircase. Okay. Yeah, I'll do a couple of details up here. We'll see if we can get some stuff going up there because let's see, we'll talk more about that in a sec. Okay, next page, S1.3 is going to be the start of our elevation views. A lot of times with staircases too, you're going to see that your elevation view is going to take up like a whole page on its own, and that's fine. It makes staircases end up taking up a lot more pages though in general because of how many or how large scale the views are. Let's see if we can even fit this in at 1 inch equals a foot, or if it's going to be too large to fit on the page. Oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I guess we could either take it down, and that's even close to, I mean, we can make that work. That's 3/4 equals a foot scale, which is fine. It's like I'd rather be at 1 inch if I can, make it easier to see what's happening, but sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches though. See, like I gotta be careful with this because I'm starting to get that knocked off the page a little bit. It's a little bit closer to the view title than I'm comfortable with, but I'm gonna leave it as it is because I'd rather be able to show the entire thing. Otherwise, what I'd have to do is break the elevation up into two separate ones, one for each floor. I'm gonna try to avoid doing that for right now and see if we can get by without doing that. Let's see. Might take this viewport though, and I might shift it a little bit in case we need to put any detail views on this side. We have a little bit of room to do that. Okay. Moving on. Locked, cool. And this would read elevation view at staircase. Because this one goes through all the floors, I'm just going to redo this part. So I'm going to insert a field here, which if you end up deleting this on your view title, you can always get it back. It's just kind of a process. So if you ever want to add that back in, if you accidentally deleted it, you can just right click on here where it says value for the view name and right click, go to insert field. And then this little menu pops up, which has a lot of different options to it. But if you want to take that subject line from your viewport or your title block over here, what you want to do is you want to go over to this drop down on the top left where it says objects. And then it's going to ask you down here, field names. We're going to go object, then object type. It lets you select one. So we're going to go hunt that down. That would be this guy right there. And then before you click OK, you want to make sure that you are looking at the contents of that title instead of the color. If you go color, it's going to say cyan. So it'll say plan view at cyan or elevation view at cyan instead, or by layer. So you're going to say contents, which will look up what's in that view or in that text box there. I always put it on uppercase too. Once you do that, hit OK. And it will look that up for you now. Okay, let's make sure I did lock that. I did. Okay, next page, S1.4. See, this one I'm a little debating whether or not we need to, like this elevation view, I don't know if it's going to provide a lot of information. We can still show it because we have it. But again, I'm not really sure as far as like how much information this is really going to help anybody with, but I'll still put it on here anyway in case somebody needs to see it for any reason. And then same deal with the other one too. Oh. Just leave that like that. I think that'll be fine. And show the front, the front here, and then, well, one sec. I need a, oh no, that is the right way. Sorry, I already looked that up. So one side's facing the front, one side's facing the back. This would be the back of your stairs, that'd be the front. Lock those viewports. All right, and we'll move on to S1.5. We're about to have like a 7-page drawing right here. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Go find our next view, which is the other side elevation, this guy right here. Man, I wish I could get these to fit on the paper a little better, but they're pretty much right to the edge of the page almost. Okay. All right, and that just leaves the section views. We'll move on to S1.6 for that. All right, now normally I would say with the section view, there is a rule like AWI has rules about these different types of views. Being that section views, they like to see them at 1.5 equals a foot. Sometimes when it comes to doing like things like staircases like this, it does get to be a little difficult to be able to show that accurately. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get around that a little bit by making blow up details off of this section view to be able to showcase a lot of the information that is going to be too small to show on here with that 3/4 equals a foot scale. So let's lock this viewport. We'll go down here. Let's already set the section, so we're good on that. And then let's see. Yeah, we got plenty of room for blow up details on that page. So then what else do we have left to show? We got our section through the planter too, of course, so we got to get that in there somewhere. Oops. Oh my goodness. All right, now this one is a little bit smaller. So I'd be willing to say we could probably make this fit at 1 inch equals a foot, possibly. Maybe even 1.5 inches, depending on how much room we have to work with here. Yeah, 1.5 inches might be pushing it. Let's just go to inch here. I guess that's what we're gonna have to do because it won't fit on the page any other way. All right, so this is for the planter. Got it. There we go. Perfect. Just kind of dragging these around a little bit, trying to get these more adjusted a little bit here before we leave it as it is. Okay. All right. Cool beans. Okay. So let's go back to our model space now that we have all of our views on paper. We got to hatch what we have currently in section view. Currently, we show a solid hatch anywhere that we cut through those objects, but we got to go back and actually label these with the correct hatch. So like if I'm looking at the planter, all of this is going to be plywood hatch. So we're going to select the dolmet. So like the cool thing about doing your section views like this, with that solid fill is that you can use this command called match properties or match prop, and you can do like a paint by number sort of thing with your drawing. So like I can just go around and be like, yep, that's all plywood. I can just click on these guys and label it as such. It saves you time from dragging and dropping all those hatches in place because that would take you a long time if you had to do that for all of these. If you wanted to save yourself a little more time, you could do it this way too. You could isolate everything that's on that hatch layer, so you turn off all the lines, and you can still use match properties here. But like because there's no lines there, you can just click and drag around all of these and be able to change them all at once instead of having to click on every individual one. So you can do it that way too. Right now I'm going to do it that way because I have a lot to color in here. Come on. All right. And then I'm going to rotate this hatch and we'll do more of that match properties here for that. Make sure you don't accidentally select something you've already changed the finish of or the hatch of. Weird. I accidentally had two AutoCADs open. I don't know how that happened. All right, this one I'm going to put the metal hatch on there. That would be your ANSI 132, or sorry, ANSI 32. Also the same one that's in your annotation tab up here. They just have different labels on them here, but it's the same hatch. So I'm going to use that to hatch all of the metal. It's weird. I guess there's only one side that has the hatch. I guess we'll have to figure that out. It's supposed to be on both. So this is the nailers. So that will also be plywood. That's going to be the horizontal plywood. And then we got nailers on this side as well, which will be vertical plywood. And same deal over here. Now I still don't know what the actual finish of the don't know the actual finish of what the planter is. For right now, I might label it with plywood as well, with the assumption that it's probably going to have like one of those rubberized tarps over it to keep moisture out of the actual wood material that we're building. That's probably most likely what it's going to be, but that's just me making an assumption on that. I'm not really sure. So, oh shoot, I did not mean to do that. Why is that all grouped together like that? That's so weird. Oh, wait. I know why. Okay. Hold on a minute. I know why. Because that's all one piece in the model, so it won't let me hatch this without changing the hatch of that. It's kind of goofy. So I'm going to remove this hatch. There we go. I'm just going to do that all the way around. I remove the outside hatch. It lets me do it. There we go. That's better. hatch all this plywood here too. It's a lot of plywood. For right now, I am going to hatch this as MDF, but I'm not really sure. That could end up being solid plank or something too. It's just not clearly stated at this time. So I will run with the assumption that that is most likely going to be some kind of MDF, but they'll let us know once they pick a finish for it. Oh, and that's all supposed to be metal here too. Okay, so all the hatching there is good to go. And bring all the layers back. Oh, that is okay, cool. Just want to make sure that actually showed up as MDF too. Oh, oops, hold on. That's grouped together too, and that's not intentional. We need to remove that. Maybe I lied about this taking less time. Usually it does, but I kind of goofed something up. I should have separated those parts and actually mitered them together instead of just making a shell. So that's part of the reason why my hatching is kind of grouped together from like the inside to the outside of that planter. But I think we've got it now. I think we'll be okay. I'm just going to drag and drop these in. Whoops. Okay. Now, I also have to mirror this too. Like I said, I'm not really sure if I accidentally hid that when I took the, not the flat shot, the section view. I may have, because there's supposed to be two of these, but right now I'm only showing one. So I'm just going to mirror that up there too, so we can show both of these. That's the steel that goes to the floor through the staircase. So we have to make sure that we account for that because it's going to cut through anything that we're building. But I might just put this on the existing layer so that way it's grayed out. So that way it doesn't look like we're picking up any of that steel. It's not likely that somebody would assume that, but might as well just make it clear that it's not our scope. So that's what I'm doing. Anything with steel, I'm graying that out. All right, moving on. So that I'm going to call that done for now. Over here, we usually don't hatch the vertical parts of our ribs. So I'm going to take that hatching out. This is that steel that we just talked about over in the other section view. So I'm going to take that steel and I'm going to make it grayed as well. Oh my goodness. Come on. Lots and lots of lines to hatch or to gray out. Maybe at this point it would have been better to like tell it to make that instead of layer geometry, maybe make it layer existing and then go back and make the actual parts that we're building the geometry layer later. That's okay. We got this. We got this. It's kind of like a color by number a little bit. All right. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is all steel by others. Oh, that's also steel by others too, I guess. So that needs to be grayed out as well. Ah, I get it all. So far, I think I got it. That is also steel though too. Gosh darn, there's a lot of steel in this thing. All right, let me move those over to that grayed out layer. Oh, and we can carry on. Got more steel to throw in there, but that's for the upper part. Keep moving on that too, I guess. Mm. Oh. Oh yeah, that's that little gusset. Like, what is that thing? We drew that yesterday, that little gusset plate. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, I think we got it all now. There we go. Well, I guess I missed some of my hatching, but that's okay. I gotta go through and do these hatches anyway, so we'll be all right. Okay, so like we did before, I'm gonna use the match properties from this view over here to hatch my plywood. So I'm gonna go plywood, 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 plywood. Remix. Go. Oh yeah. We'll have to do that one manually, I guess, but that's okay. Same with that one. It goes away. Plywood all the way around. Okay, this is also plywood, but we need to flip it vertically. Oops, there's some horizontal plywood there. Man, there's a lot to hatch. It's gonna give me carpal tunnel. I'm clicking my mouse too much. Oh boy. All right. Anyways, I can probably handle the hatching part later. But I wanted to at least try to do this. This is kind of a lot of little clicks to have to do here and there. But just to get you guys to where you need to be as far as showing you like what to show on the drawing, I can probably handle the hatching part of it after the fact and just take care of that later. All right. Let me finish up this one little part though, and then we'll move on to plotting the rest of the stairs. It's gonna take it a hot minute. All right. All right. Well, anyways, when I get back to that, I'll figure that part out, but okay. So focusing on our first view, our plan view over the planter. Okay, so I might clean out what's here, make it easier to see what that, make it easier to see what that cutout is going to be. That'll be needed to go around the steel. The inside of the planter, these seams would eventually disappear, but I'm gonna leave them there for right now. But we can throw some dimensions on here while we're looking at this view. So I'm gonna go into my dimension command, and I'm gonna start by throwing in our standard sets. So we got 11 inches here for that first step. Dim continue. There we go. I'm just going to go down the line here, one right after the other. That's unusual. Anyways, so that's all right. So we'll move on to here. We're going to throw in some dimensions for this portion of the planter as well. So I want to provide the overall width of it. So that 70 inches is what that would be. That's one thing I want to do. The next thing I want to do is also provide some dimensions for what that planter size is going to be. So we'll go 12 inches that side, 46 inches that way, and 12 inches over here. Okay, and then down here, I can provide the rest of the necessary dimensions for the planter here then too. So I'm going to go 12 inches there. We'll go from there to there is 129. And then I'll go to this cutout here and we'll dimension the cutout so that way we can see what's happening here. All right. And then these dimensions here on this, I'm going to write VIF on those because they pertain to somebody else's scope. And I want to make sure that these are the actual correct dimensions, although based on their model, they should be. But you want to make sure that they still match up by the time everything's installed because you never really know if it's going to vary at all from what they actually did show originally. So I'm also going to go here and I'm going to show the width dimensions of those cutouts here too. Something like that should be okay. Again, these will be VIF, VIF, and suppose that'll probably be okay. I'm going to actually take these back too. I know a lot of times you want to make sure your lines are snapped to what you're dimensioning to, but this is going to look very sort of unclear when you go to plot it because you have lines overlapping like actual dimensions, or sorry, actual drawing lines, and I don't want to have that happen either. So I'm going to try to take these back as much as I can to the edge of my drawing. And that way there's a lot less lines there. It makes it probably a little clearer as to what it is that we are supposed to be drawing or, working on. Because you don't have red and blue lines out in the shop. So they just have black and white. So you got to imagine like all those extra lines are going to be kind of confusing for them out there to be able to see all that. All right, let me check my messages here. Oh, okay. I got to check the Wrigley folder real quick to see if everything's in there yet. Now that we've got an actual working folder. I got F1 and I got K1. Let's see, what am I missing still?
Probably still my laminate
L1.
packet. Yeah. I was working on
Yeah,
it this morning and then we ended up with training, so.
yeah, I know L1 is one of those ones too that's still out there. Trying to think what else. The vanities, I think you had those done. But I think that they're like probably saved to your desktop or something, I'm sure, because of the weird thing that was happening with that folder earlier on. I think what else is on that job that we need. It was Cody's drink rail, the bar, back bar, Cody's cabinets on L2, I think, which I can't actually do anything with. They're kind of corrupted right now. I don't know. Cody, do you still have that on your desktop somewhere?
Have the drink rail?
The cabinets with the little induction warmer thing on them.
Maybe. Let me look at my.
Okay. Yeah, that job folder was really screwed up. Like anything that was in there got corrupted and it doesn't exist anymore. But I know you had it done because I remember we looked at it.
Yeah, I remember doing it, but computer's just going really slow. I can't get into my stuff.
No, it's okay.
What was the name of it again?
The job is 6407 and it's called Wrigley Batter's Eye.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
It give me just a few minutes. I'll see if
Oh,
I
you're
can't
good.
find it.
You're good. I'm kind of just skimming over what we have here too to see if there's anything there that I have notes about. All right, cool. We do need that. Mm. Wait, is that right? I think it is.
Ah, yeah. Okay, I got it. I got it. I got
Oh,
it. Good. I
snap.
got. I got. It, yes.
So you do have it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I think this is it. L245725.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Do you need me to send it to you?
Um, yeah, you can send it to me if you want. I'll put it in the folder. I know that you probably have one of the folders synced, but they now have a separate one. There's an issue with the original job folder where they had to go back and actually make a new job folder for it because it was like something had broke with the automation that they used to make the job folders.
Hmm. Okay. I'll stick a copy of it in there.
Awesome. All right. Oh my gosh.
Just in case this one gets corrupted.
It shouldn't at this point. We'll be okay. It's just that one folder had a lot of problems with it. Hmm.
Okay, it's in there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I saved a copy of the
Oh, the drink rail's in there, I think.
yeah, the drink rail's in there.
Yep, you got it in there already. And
Looks like I don't have a copy of I don't have it plotted in there, which I can do that real quick.
okay. Hmm. Whoops.
Okay. There should be a copy in there now.
Okay. Whoops. Oh. Oh no. Oh, yeah, we only need one film joint. My bad. Mm-hmm. Ow. Hmm. Sorry. Now it got me into drawing check mode for some reason. I was just looking at something. I wanted to see if what we had in there was like pretty up to date so far. Okay, 1.1. Oh, that should be one. Dang it. Dang it.
Dang it, Bobby.
Oh. It's supposed to be there's apparently some kind of leak where they were supposed to be having those characters in Fortnite too, and I don't think they ever did. So sad.
That's kind of crazy. I don't know how I'd feel about seeing Hank Hill. You
In
know,
Fortnite,
yeah.
I would be all about it. That would be awesome. Imagine that, it'd be hilarious.
It
Hank
really
Hill
would be.
running around with like Godzilla and stuff. Um,
Oh, I forgot Godzilla was in Fortnite, wasn't he?
yeah, this last season they added him. Pretty crazy.
Uh, Talk about jacked up.
I
Wonder
mean,
how they're
yeah.
paying for all that.
Well, Disney owns the majority of it now, so I think they bought like I don't remember what the percentage was, but they bought a huge percent of the company of Epic Games. Like, can't you guys just stop buying stuff for a little bit?
No.
I'm thinking about like that thing with The Incredibles where he's like, can't you just leave the city cleaned up for just a little bit? Can't you stop buying stuff for just a tiny bit? Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. But I'm gonna mark it as corrections for that one since I just looked at it. All right, cool. Where is there it is. Whoop. All right. Oh, okay, we'll keep going. Callie, if you have your vanities saved somewhere too, do you wanna? Could you mind sending them over to me if you got them?
I can look. I don't know if I did. I remember vanities off the top of my head. Let me see if I got anything on my desktop.
Okay, I think it
Was
was like
it K2 and
K1.
K3?
Yeah, that was it. Because
Okay,
K1
that
was the
was
drink crowd.
yeah, that was last week. That was early
Hmm.
last week. My brain does not remember stuff that far ago.
Oh, it's okay.
All right,
I
let me
just
load them
remember
up
that
here.
I saw you had them on check, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that because I kind of looked in them briefly, but I don't think I had anything on them. So, but because that
Yeah,
job
no
folder got
worries.
reset, I'm like, I kind of need to bring that
Don't
stuff
think they're
back.
plotted, so I'll pop them quick and throw them in there.
Okay, thanks.
The CAD files are in there though, so there's at least that.
Interesting.
I mean, I just uploaded them just now.
Yeah. All right. Oh. Oh. Okay. Figure out what the heck that is. It's a ghost. Oh, you know what? That's the planter below. I know what that is. Ah, no. I'm looking at these lines. I was like, that's not the handrail. What is that? That's the planter down below, though. Like, what am I looking at here? That's also steel, too. There's like a little tiny plate on the wall that the steel is bolted to, and that's what we're seeing right there. Sorry, I was going through and trying to gray out anything that's not our scope. That's not a habit. I mean, it's good to show that way if you can. That way you can make sure that it's not going to be picked up or assumed that we're picking it up. We'll also put notes all over the place saying steel or structural steel on staircase by others and handrail by others and all that. But I also like to do this too if I have time to do it because it's going to give me a better visual on what all is part of our scope and what all is not. Okay. Boom. All right. All right. So, let's see. If we go back to what we were talking about earlier today, the treads, we do like to try to label them as best we can. What I'll usually do is I'll put a text box on the first tread of the staircase and we will work our way up that. I'm going to make this text box say middle center. I'm going to place it near the edge of the stair tread. So I'll just put it over here and bring it down a couple inches like so. Then what I'm going to do is actually number these. I think there's actually a command in AutoCAD that auto numbers them for you. I just can't remember what it is on top of my head. So I'm going to keep going with this. Okay. And the last one here is that little baby tread, which I'm actually including that as part of this. I'm not including the planter as part of the treads, although they are steps up onto the staircase. They are, to me, a little bit separate. So what I'm going to do is label these 02, 03, 04, and so on. Not 14. That'd be a big jump. You have to be like Super Mario and do a double jump to get up to that one. Yeah. Yes, 14 steps. Come on. Landing number 10. All right. Whew. Oh gosh. Yep. So again, these are kind of only really important because you want to make sure that you don't accidentally skip any steps as you're going up these stairs, and it also makes it so it's easier to see how many quantity of treads you need to have the shop build. So I didn't used to label our treads like this, but I started doing it after I drew a big circular staircase where I was missing one step at the end and had to redraw the entire thing. It's a real tragic story. And I don't want to return to that. So, so for me to prevent myself from causing my own destruction like that, what I'm doing is labeling each tread with a number to give myself a sort of like guideline as to making sure I do have enough treads for everything. So, all right. Let's go to, all right, sorry, I'm going back over to our top-down views, and we're going to go to, I think we had those at 1 inch equals a foot, if I remember right. Check this, scale is 1 inch equals a foot. Okay, cool. Cool beans. All right, so what I would like to do now is take these, run them on over here, and we're going to carry on our labeling starting at 23 for step number 1 on levels 20 through, that's 23, yep, 23, levels 20 through 21. Come on, dude. Oh, get back here. All right. And then once we've got these labeled, we're going to put that little up arrow on the stairs. And following that, the only thing left to do is to put some typical dimensions on the stairs, including the tread width and tread depth. I might actually add some other cool stuff here too, just to show a little bit more detail, to be a little bit more clear as to what's happening. I might throw a hidden line at the front of my steps to show where the treads overlap each other because each tread has a 1 inch overhang on it. So we can show that with just dropping a hidden line in at the front of every step. And give people more of a sense of direction too, because not only will we have the up and down, well, the up arrow, but you're also going to have the clearly labeled little tread overhang on the front too. 386. Oh my gosh. I'm typing so fast, AutoCAD's not even catching up with me. Alrighty. Here we go. Okay, so let's do that little overhang here too. We talked about we're going to make that a 1 inch hidden line here to show the overhang between the tread and the next tread, or in this case, the tread and the floor below. We'll go ahead and change these out to be hidden lines. All right. And then we can just copy these all the way up the stairs. Uh-oh, hold on. Got a little bit too click happy and accidentally clicked on a, not the endpoint, I just clicked on a random spot. What are your guys' thoughts on stairs at this time with what you've seen so far?
I probably will go back and watch the first one just because I think at the start of this there was a lot of context I was missing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah, I probably, if I had gone back, I probably would have watched that first before watching something like this because a lot of it was, trying to make sense of it, I guess.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, maybe it makes more sense to kind of review the first part of it and then come back to this too. I wasn't kind of expecting you guys to redraw this one, at least not at this time, until, we need the work or something, then you could take this and kind of work through it.
I was gonna say I'll probably need about 3 or 4 times watching these videos in order to actually do it correctly. Stairs seem
Oh,
simple, but they are very complicated.
yes and no. But yeah, I get you. There's a lot to them.
Not as simple as a rectangle goes here and gets screwed into the floor.
All right. Yep, got that overhang, got our numbers. I think we can draw in the arrow pointing up, saying that's the direction we're going here too. All right. I usually just do that with a leader. And I just drew that backwards. I usually just draw that with a leader, though I'll go from like one side of the stairs to the other and say no text. But what I'm going to do is take that, and instead of having a little dot on the end, what I'm going to do is switch that to an arrowhead. You can do that if you go into your properties pane here after you've drawn a leader, and you can actually switch it to have an arrow. I'm going to use closed filled. And I'm going to see if I can make that arrow a little larger too, so it actually shows up better on the page, because right now it was pretty tiny.
Hey, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
Are we close to being finished?
Probably for today. I need to get some other stuff done too, so.
Okay. Is it okay if I skedaddle to the bathroom?
Yeah, yeah, you're good. I'll let you know where we left off or where we're at when you get back, and then we'll probably be calling it soon too. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No worries.
I know. I know it's been a long day doing this stuff.
It'll be good for I have a few things on my list, and then I saw there was some United that had dropped, but it'll be good for once that's gone and we're waiting for the next thing.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It'd be more practice for you guys. I mean, we did model this one too, which if you guys are looking to get more experience with 3D modeling, this would be a really good one to dig into as well.
Yeah, for sure. I wish the videos stuck around longer than
We can download
like
them
90
too.
days or whatever they are.
I know. I need to download them because yeah, it's just not feasible to have them only last 90 days and then expect, people to have to,
Yeah.
you know, access them later. It's just, you can't really do that. So I'm probably going to save these two.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be a great resource to have. Because I know, like, speaking for myself, I think I did a stage once, and like if I were asked to redo that now, I'd be like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, I
yeah.
don't even know
Trying to
where to
redo
start
all
on
this
that.
part.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why, like, especially early on, I was very much just the casework guy because
Hmm.
like I think other things that would come by my desk wouldn't be regular enough for me to like remember for sure how to
Oh, yeah,
do
yeah.
X, Y, and Z. So having a
Makes,
resource where you can go back and check those standards and say like, okay, well when we draw it this way, we do this. That's a
hmm.
really good resource to have.
Oh, yeah. And it's been suggested before that we just make recordings that are like pre-recorded for people to watch if they want to do some training. I'm like, I always thought it was kind of silly to do that, but the longer I've been doing this training stuff, the more I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe we probably should do that because it takes a lot of time to get through all this stuff. And I do enjoy working with you guys on it when, like on stuff like this, because then if you have questions or anything, you can usually
For
just bring them
sure.
right up. But if I just recorded something, you'd have to pause it and then try to get a hold of me or something. But like, um, not
A
that that's a
hybrid
big
version
deal.
of that too could be like, record them, save them when the training exists, because like for example, I think when me and AJ started, we didn't do stairs training, we didn't do desk training.
Oh
A lot
yeah.
of this, kind of got swept under because we were getting flooded with work at the time.
Oh
So
yes, it
like
did.
so like now with this though, like you could save it and then it's available for anybody that, would want to review this kind of stuff and there'd at
Hmm.
least be something if something like that does happen. Great
Yeah,
resource.
yeah. And I do think that if we were to go that route, like you could go the method of trying to make it like legitimately like extremely detailed so that way nothing gets missed too. The only thing that I
Mhm.
have that I'd be like griping about is if somebody changes like a drawing or building standard halfway through, like, we've recorded it and then they're like, oh, well, we're going to build stairs differently now. And I'd be like,
Yeah,
dang
that's a
it.
fair point. You could have like a tech stock with it almost too, though, with just like if something does change on it, it'd be,
Yeah,
easy enough to
that's true.
go through that.
Yeah.
I usually write down timestamps too while we're talking, and I've thought like if we end up saving these videos, it'd be great just to have a little text stock with the timestamps on it so you could find what you're looking for.
Uh-huh.
That's just
Yeah, I'd
something I do though.
agree.
Like I wouldn't expect, every person to do that.
Yeah. And it's hard for me to know if you guys are like actually writing things down or not because I know that sometimes you guys do, which is really helpful because then later on, like if you're like, how did we do this command again? You might like I've seen people write down the steps on how to do it as we're going through it, which is really good for later when you need to know how to do that again. Um, let's see, that's the planter. Maybe I'll write on here.
Yeah, I'm a big note taker. If I can't follow along with the tutorial, I have to take notes on it, or like I have trouble kind of
Mm-hmm.
sticking, like remembering the processes we went through. So to have that
Yeah.
written, like I have papers and papers and papers over here I've been writing on, and even the process of like organizing them kind of helps solidify the process like in my head.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All right. Well, that actually, like, I'll go over this with Cody when he gets back too, but what I'm doing here is I'm being as thorough as I possibly can with my notes because it is somewhat complicated to look at when you have a lot of things piled up here
Sure.
like this. So what I'm doing is anything that's pertaining to the planter, I wrote like planter next to it. Anything pertaining to the treads, I've been trying to, with the exception of that. Maybe I'll put tread depth. Might be a little overkill, but tread width, tread depth, typical. Landing, I VIF'd that because we don't really know what that's going to be yet. I mean, we do, but it might change depending on the steel vendor stuff. Oh, and then this tread
Sure.
here's the baby tread. And we need to know how wide that is. So, okay. I did put a separate typical tread over here just to show people that that this tread is the same, even though it's on a different part of the staircase, that it's still 11 inches wide or deep.
Mhm.
Let's see. Tread depth. I'll put a VIF on that one too. This one is not a TYP though. All right. Okay. So just little notes like that. Try to sprinkle them in there, make it as clean as possible, make sure there's nothing that's missed. Part of it's labeling each tread, part of it's putting that little arrow, and a lot of typical notes. So once that's done though, that's pretty much all I'm expecting of you guys for that. I mean, I'll probably put elevation calls around this thing as well, which we haven't done that yet. But as far as like the dimensional part of it goes, I mean, that's kind of the expectations there for stairs. Let's see. So that's elevation 1 on 1.3 is this way. I'm going to drop those in here while we're talking about it because it's going to be something I'll forget if I don't do it now. And depending on how you guys feel too, once Cody's back and we kind of re-review what we're doing here, if you guys are okay with calling this for today, I might leave it there so that we can all get caught up on our other things too, because I know you've got some stuff, but I've also got some stuff
Yeah,
too I
sure.
need to get to as well. Not that I don't like doing this, it's like, but I want to make sure that we all actually have time to do our work as well.
Yeah, sure thing. I should be able to get this P4 back to you in re-review, hopefully by the end of today. If not by the
Okay.
end of today, by like first thing tomorrow morning. If I finish
Yeah.
it close to when I leave, I'll probably wait till tomorrow just so I can have fresh eyes, look at it, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Sure. Oops. That would be fine. Yeah. Just labeling everything out. And then of course, this page here, got to figure out which one was the front, which one was the back. So this is the back of the staircase here. That's view number 1. The front of the staircase is view number 2. The reason I'm able to tell is based on these little mitered pieces here.
Okay,
Because
that was
that's
like the next question I was going to ask you.
how do I know what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's because these are those baby treads.
Okay.
Also, well, you can't really see them. Well, you can here, kind of, maybe. Yeah, those are those metal beams that are underneath the landings. It's hard to tell what's going on, but the back of it is what you're seeing there. So that's view 1 is the back, view 2 is the front.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. It'd be kind of crammed over there, but that's okay. That was 1.4, right? Yeah, it was. Okay, cool. All right. Cody, since you're back, I'll walk you through what we talked about. And then I think if you guys are both good with this, what I'll probably do is we can pick it back up tomorrow from where we are today. But I kind of wanted to talk with you guys about what the expectations are for what you're seeing in your plan view here for staircases. So we've gone through a fair amount of it already, but the things you want to really make sure that you're hitting here on your staircase plan views. One would be the directional arrow. So you just need to place an arrow on there that says which way is up. You want to number your treads. That way you can make sure that one, you didn't miss any of them, and two, we can get a nice quantity of treads for the shop so they know how many they need to make. It's a very repetitive process for them. The other thing that I wanted to point out here is while you're out, I've been adding little, like sprinkling little notes in here, like peppering those through. Anything that was pertaining to the planter like this, I've been writing 70 inches planter, or like if there's a dimension pertaining to the tread, I put, VIF 65 inches tread width, which is from left to right. And then same thing with the depth too. And I did put the typical tread depth here as well as here too. I wouldn't say this is required, but I did put it here because this is broken up by the landing. So you have a tread width here and a tread width here. It should be the same anyway, but I wanted to make sure that it was clear that these are going to be the same from left to right of that landing. I did also put an additional tread depth here for that baby tread at the top because that one is different. And the only reason that one is actually different is because it's butting into the solid wood flooring on the 20th floor in this case. Otherwise, it would have to be the same 11 inches as the rest of them. If it wasn't, then you'd probably have a trip hazard up there. Then the last thing is we threw in those elevation calls just to show what's what. So if you need to know what view to go to, you got those, just like you would for any other drawing. I'll save where we're at. And like I said, we can pick it back up tomorrow where we left off. Really, we're just in the plotting stage of it now, so we're nearly done. But the details is another thing I want to talk to you guys about tomorrow. So we're going to be going over that. I haven't made any details yet for this staircase, but at least not on the paper, but we do have some pre-drawn down here, which we talked about on Friday a little bit. These are just standard details that I kind of drew up ahead of time to present to the architect. So Greg could take these over to the architect and have them look at them to make sure that these are in line with what they're expecting for the staircase. So I sent him this drawing and I sent him this drawing down here too, which is like a standard tread to show you like what the construction of that tread is going to look like. So that's all covered in the first video. I think this is like 3 parts now, maybe 4, but that's all covered in that first video. We kind of looked at that more in depth, but we're going to have to put these details on our drawing as well. So we'll take care of that tomorrow when we finish up the rest of the print. But yeah, those details are just pertaining to what's going on with the treads and risers, or sorry, the treads and the landings here. Again, that'll be a tomorrow thing. We'll finish that out, finish plotting these drawings here, and then we can carry on with whatever we want to do next, whether it's United Center or any other drawings, or if you guys want to practice one of these drawings too, you can too. But yeah, if you guys are good, you want to call it for today on this one?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool.
Good with whatever.
Good with whatever. All right. Whew. Save my voice box another day. But yeah, we did make some pretty significant progress today on this. I mean, we are very close to being done with it, so I'm very happy with that. I think we'll have no problem getting this thing done probably by lunch tomorrow. So, you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns at all about stairs at this point in time?
I don't think so. If I get in early enough tomorrow, I might try to look at some of the first video.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good
Other
idea.
than that, that's all I got.
Okay. Cool. You good over there too, Cody?
I guess.
Oh, come on. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. All right. Oh, man. Okay. And in that case, I'll go ahead and stop sharing here and we can come back to it tomorrow here.
Cool.
Pretty sure
You made it.
Brandon's. Yeah, made it so far.
Hooray.
Cheers. All right. Well, I gotta call Brandon back too, I think. So he's been trying to get a hold of me all day. All right.
Alrighty, sounds good. I'll let you guys go.
All right. I'll see you guys. Thank you for your time,
Right.
and we'll finish this up tomorrow.
Sounds good. See
All
ya.
right. Bye.